What's up, everyone? I'm Digital Soul.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Groove, and we are the Purple Brothas. So, Digital Soul, where you been?
What up, man?
Where you been?
Where I've been? I've been here. I've been around. Where you been, man?
Oh, well, you know me. I've been directing a movie. So where you been?
Doing some music, recording an album, made a video which you directed.
I did. Want to get down tonight?
Yeah, let's get down tonight with the D-Boys, my brother, and featuring Charlie Lake. I did cook a couple of hamburgers. I built a pyramid. I added on a bathroom. I've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we've been on hiatus for a few months, y'all, but guess what? The Purple Brothas are back.
He's back.
And
we got a cool show.
We got a damn good show for you tonight.
Thank y'all, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to another cool episode of the Purple Brothas. I'm very honored to have our special guest on screen with us today. From the Bay Area, as the young folks say, the Yay area.
Yes.
From the Yay area, the legendary saxophonist, artist, producer, who has played with a couple of people you might know, like Prince, Beyonce, Tina Marie, Jesse Johnson, a handful of people he's played with. Legendary. Am I missing anybody, Eddie?
You're missing a few, but it's okay. We don't need to talk about
it. But he has played with the best because he is one of the best. He's also a legendary legend himself, saxophonist Eddie Menenfield, better known as Eddie M, is in the house with us today.
Right on, Ruben and John, man. Thanks for inviting me out,
Oh, no problem, my brother.
John hit me up in Minneapolis, said, man, I need this show done, man. Don't do it, John. All is well, man. It was definitely, I've been running it to John for years, man, and it was time to get down and say something,
Yeah, and actually had the opportunity last year to actually hold the microphone into your sax as you were playing in Oakland. There's video footage of that somewhere.
That's right, one of them nights, man. Yeah, we're going to have to get that. I need that. I like those.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of, we've been seeing each other. I know that, all the artists have been down or were down for a big period. How do you feel being back out in the crowd and performing and hitting these venues now?
It's a blessing for musicians, period, to get back out, because we were, as entertainers, as you guys, as we know, we were completely shut down. And I had never experienced anything like that in my life, as well as you guys. But for the entertainment side of things, we were kind of considered the last on the list. I feel that was taken care of through those crises. So it's definitely a blessing we can get back out there, but it's also a scary thing, because this thing is not done, it's not over. So you kind of, you're doing it at your own risk, and it's a little scary. I haven't really been out on the road like I was prior to COVID, because I just want to be a little safe and not, and not be hasty, because people are still getting sick from this thing, man, and it's still spreading about. Although we trying to just get out there and not just make a living, but just express ourselves, get back to just sharing the love with the music thing, That's what we've been doing all of our lives, and we've been deprived of that. So it's a blessing, and it's also kind of scary. So I'm taking precautions and being really, I'm not rushing to what I used to do at this moment. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say, Eddie, like, you inspired me as a young 13, 14-year-old, junior high school.
That's
man.
awesome.
I'm aging myself, but back in like in the
Don't
80s.
worry about you aging me too, though, Ruben.
You hated all of us.
No way.
I was inspired by you in the way that you played the sax, man. I played the alto and tenor saxophones and when I was in junior high school and all the way down to the baritone sax.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And then when I played, and then when I listened to you play on Love Bizarre, I was like, what is this and who is this? And I was able to, off my ear play what you
That's
played.
awesome.
So
That's incredible.
man, it's, I'm thankful and thank you, man. So with saying that, I want to know who inspired you to play the saxophone.
Growing up, before I even put the saxophone in my hands, my parents was playing James Brown music around the house. So of course, with all that I was listening to, Maceo and Fred Wesley and and Pee Wee Ellis and all the JBs. I was hearing all of that. And I was taking it in before I actually knew what I was doing with the horn. I was trying to be James Brown, getting on top of the coffee table and trying to do, the skates and, do the little, and it was in my DNA, when I picked up the saxophone though, and I was about 7, 8 years old. And when I chose that instrument, I started listening to cats like Grover. I started listening to cats like Ronnie Laws. I was more on the not so heavy jazz, but I was still doing jazz because you had to be in these programs. Thank God I was in it through school. I was in all the big jazz band, big groups, and all through elementary, all the way up through high school. But my thing was more towards cats like Ronnie Grover, Don Myrick. I love Don Myrick. Don Myrick was my hero from Earth, Wind & Fire.
Yeah.
But Maceo was in me, you know what I mean? It was like Maceo, like you kind of took to Love Bizarre. I took to Maceo because he wasn't doing all the major and crazy scales. He just was funky, Everything was syncopated. It was like he was a drummer on saxophone, Just his rhythm thing was just amazing to me. So I took to that. A lot. But I also had cats like Grover, which I used to take the needle and move back and try and, learn, Mr. Magic off this, Sunflower album,
Oh yeah.
I did that thing, especially with Ronnie Laws always there. I'm like, oh, I gotta learn this, So did a lot of that. But those were my cats who really intrigued me and inspired me.
Very cool. Did you take lessons in school, or what actually started?
I studied all through school. I had a great teacher who was a teacher of my sister, my brother, who are older. I'm the youngest of my 4 siblings, and my older sister, my older brother, started me kind of. They were doing it in the schools, which singing and playing instruments. So I started pretty young. Their teacher became my teacher, and he was one incredible man named Phil Hardiman, who pushed me along. And actually his pictures, I was with Duke Ellington. That was the first night I told my mother which instrument I wanted to play. Oh, wow. I saw the cats swinging with the horns on the side. I'm like, oh no, Mom, I want to play that. I didn't even know what a saxophone was. But it was a great music program in the town I was born in, and that was Berkeley, California. Yeah. So I studied under this great man, Phil Hardiman, with many others. I mean, great players, Joshua Redman, I could name Rodney Franklin. Tons of great players came through Berkeley. and under his guidance. And so I studied under him from elementary school all the way through high school.
Wow.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so I was fortunate.
The Bay Area, man, is known for its melting pot of musicians. A lot of freaking talent. I mean,
Oh,
Tower
yeah.
Power, I
Oh,
mean, Escovedo, Santana. I mean, there's a lot.
yeah.
You growing up, let's say around your teenage years, who were some of the cats that you ended up playing with or coming across during those times that influenced you or may have played with to get you started?
Well, actually, in my teenage years, I, while my last couple of years in high school, I started my own top 40 band with a dear friend of mine named Melchor Benez. And we ended up bringing in the drummer now for Earth, Wind & Fire, John Paris. So we had a top 40 group, and we kind of ended up climbing the ladder of being like known as one of the top 40 groups in the Bay Area and most of California. So that was a real cool accomplishment. But we were looking at our surroundings, and that was like Tower Power, Confunction, it was all of these great bands. And I ended up working with Confunction. My first single written, it was on the Confunction album I wrote called Can You Feel the Groove? That's how old it is, because you see how the title alone is. But it was the first song on their album called Fever. And Felton Pilot put me in the mix and got my first song. So we were surrounded with great players and not even really paid attention to that, just like we didn't know how blessed we was to be in the midst of all of sort of our heroes. It was kind of like a normal thing for us because we grew up here. But blessings to have those people and Sheila, and Pops and, so on, the list goes on. I used to have Sheila on my wall, like pictures. It's funny. I used to have her poster with her and Pops on my bedroom, as a, young teenager. I'm like, well, she kind of fine. I was a fan, not even knowing that we would end up spending 35, 36 years together.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was just that, in our face. And, but it was a blessing, definitely a blessing to have that.
Definitely, bro. So how was that dynamic since we were talking about Sheila? How was that dynamic when you got into the band, and how did you feel? Because you was a fan first, now you're playing with her. How was the whole dynamic being in the band?
Well, it was kind of interesting because Sheila started coming around our top 40 band, which we would call at that time All Is One. Her and her brother Peter Michael, they were kind of following us, checking us out. Plus the drummer I told you about, I grew up with, John Paris, who I'm partnering with on the upcoming project, plays with Earth, Wind & Fire. She actually recruited him to be in her band. This is before Prince. So she would come out to a lot of our club gigs, so it wasn't like it was kind of a normal thing. Oh, Sheila in the house tonight, But, we was all we just knew Sheila because she did so much at a young age with so many great people like George Duke, Marvin, Lionel. So she was like a Bay Area hero, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she came about and was, kind of like recruiting our boys. So she was all kind of in the mix. But what happened, man, I ended up going to LA to do some songwriting with Verdine White and Larry Dunn. My first kind of like LA serious trip. And I'm like, man, I'm like, phew, this is it. I wasn't even playing. I was more or less co-writing and helping production on some projects that him and Larry Dunn was doing with another friend of mine, Larry White, Kurt Crumpler. And on that trip, I don't know how, but I got a phone call from John Paris, and he was on the road with O'Brien. And he said, man, Sheila looking for you. I'm like, what's Sheila want? I'm in LA. I'm kicking it with Verdi White, you know, with the Earth 25 boys. And, you know, this is before Glamorous Life, right before. I mean, Glamorous Life was about to drop. And she said, she's looking for you, man. She's trying to put this group together and she wants to holler at you, see if you're interested in doing it. And I'm like, okay. Well, let me hit her up. So I ended up then, then it wasn't cell phones, it wasn't even beepers then. So I don't even know how he found me in this hotel room in LA, still don't know to this day. But anyways, I ended up working my way back to the Bay Area and we hooked up and we started, and she had her concept of who she wanted and what she wanted, even though she had mad auditions, and she put this group together. And I tell you, we went through the storm together. And I was, I've been there 30, well, I can't even count now, 35 some years. And, in and out, we do our thing, she does hers, and, kind of take our breaks or whatever. But it's been a ride with her. It's been one hell of a ride.
So with Sheila, that was like the first professional big stage gig, correct?
Absolutely. Purple Rain was my first initial tour.
Okay.
I didn't know nothing about tour other than going to see groups going to see Prince. I was like, every time Prince came to town, I'm going, or Earth, Wind and Fire, I was a concert goer. I wasn't, I didn't know what it was on that professional side,
right?
Other than doing the club circuit and all of that. But Purple Rain was my first one. And since Prince wanted her to open that tour, it was a blessing for all of us because it just launched us and threw us up into another level, took us to another level.
Right. They just reissued the Syracuse concert. Have you been able to see that, or see yourself again in live and living color later?
It's funny. It's on my desk because I'm somebody I was talking to that was a part of it was saying how great it came out, remaster and everything. So I'm anxious to see it. But yeah, that concert, it was an interesting one. But yeah, I have it on the desk. So hopefully when I get some downtime, I'm gonna sit back and reflect,
Yeah, cool.
That was it. That was some good times, and by that time when we recorded that, we had kind of got the show in place where he was happy about it. So it was definitely a good moment to record that.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when it first came out, and I think that you guys, it was like the extension of the revolution to me. It's like when you had you and you had Alana Bliss and she was on the stage, and it's like you guys took it to the next level, on certain songs. It was just that's my favorite part of the Syracuse show is when you guys got on stage, man.
It was a party.
Yeah, it was a party.
It was another level. He started adding, but you never knew with Prince. That was a great thing about him. He's always, his musical mind was always, so it was things that we hadn't done preview to that show that he ended up putting in effect, and it was like, kind of in the moment, so it was some great stuff that he came up with. He was, I miss him dearly, and he was truly a genius at just putting things out there and challenging you as a player to step up and handle it. So very selective on his people he was too. He's very selective. So
as far as shortly after that, and I think Ruben can agree too with 85, 86 being one of our favorite eras of Prince, the Romance 1600, Around the World in a Day era. Which you're featured on those recordings. Talk a little bit about the recording processes for those albums, as far as like your input, what you were allowed to, the songwriting process and so forth between that era there.
it was pretty amazing because we recorded those Sheila E albums while, well, definitely Romance 1600. We recorded that while we were on Purple Rain because Prince just never stopped. I mean, you know, you imagine we were working 6 nights in a row in each city, and homeboy would have a full day. We sound check for 2 or 3 hours. You know, we have dinner break. We go do the show for 3 hours, 4 hours, and he wants to go and look at the show after the show. And then homeboy was like right in the studio right after, you know, these settings. And so we managed to record Romance 1600 on the road, and we finished up towards the end of Purple Rain in Sunset Studios in LA. But for the most part, it was very, that's when I learned to record. And he taught me a great deal about that. He taught me a deal about being afraid of mistakes and how, you know, everything is not a mistake. Don't be afraid. He taught me how and what to do when someone hires me, or what, you know, he gave me this space of freedom, which I mean, it was my makeup for who I am today, because he just did not want me to he wanted me to fear anything. So he allowed me to be myself and do what I did. And honestly, wow, I wasn't really playing, you know. When I started with Sheila, I was like kind of lead singing in my band. I wasn't playing my horn. That was kind of like the secondary at that point. So when I jumped in the Prince thing, it was immediately took the first seat. But he gave me freedom of speech on my horn, and he took to something about me, and you know, gave me that opportunity. He didn't give me much direction because he wasn't a horn player. But you got to know, he had already started working with Eric, I'm calling Eric his brother's name. He'd already started working with Eric Leeds before I came in, because they had already recorded the Family's album. And I used to hear all these, you know, recordings and rehearsals. I'm like, dang, who's this dude? I met Eric Leeds on the stage. Like, I had no idea, you know, he was there. All I know, we was on a dark stage. We was playing, I think we was playing I Will Die For You, or Baby I'm a Star. Next thing you know, Eric, blow your horn, where he normally would say, Eddie, here, blow your horn. He said, Eric, blow your horn. I looked on the other end of the stage. Eric is in a big old hat and a big, you know, coat, and the lights hit him, and he just took off wailing. I'm like, oh my, that's how I met Eric. Wow. And, you know, of course, I'm sitting there shaking like, I can't play after him. I hope he don't call me. And sure enough, he calls me, and I had to just close my eyes and go for it. But that was our first meeting. And I forget what city that was. It was weird. It was, I think, maybe in Texas or something. But he loved that kind of like raising the bar on each and making, you know, you take it up another level. He loved that, seeing that in people. But he gave me the opportunity to learn the craft of being in the studio. So I tell you a quick story about Temptation.
Okay.
We were recording that. No, he was rehearsing that song. We were in, I think, Cleveland, Ohio or something, and we were rehearsing. He was planning to record that song with The Revolution. Mm-hmm. And they were going through it, and he was like, Eddie, I need you on stage. So I go, I'm like, oh, okay, what am I doing? I never asked any questions. So I go to the stage, and I'm playing with them. And after we finished sound check rehearsal, working on that song, Alan Leeds comes up and said, Prince, you need to pack your bags. We're leaving after the show. Like, leaving? Where are we going? and it's snowing. It's like a blizzard. So we ended up getting on a flight after we had finished our 6th or 7th night in this town, and we had some days off. So he got us a charter flight to LA. Me, him, Jerome, Sheila, Alan Leeds, and I'm not sure, maybe a couple other people, but folks went. But we ended up in LA. He took us to the last show of the Jackson's victory tour at Dodger Stadium. So, yeah, we flew into this. I'm like, what the heck is going on? It was so incredible. But then after that, he didn't stick around for no photos. He's like, let's go. We need to jump in the limo. Let's go. He wasn't trying to do all of that. He didn't want to have a photo shooter and what Michael and him matched up. So, and that's another story within itself. But he drops us off. We go to the hotel. It's later in the evening, and he goes right to Capitol Studios and starts recording Temptation. And I get a call probably early morning, the next morning, to come to the studio. And he walked me through putting my part on. So that's just pretty much me and him.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I'm going from thinking the Revolution was recorded, and he basically, gave the word. He wasn't really feeling it. He didn't think it was, when a writer has their own thing, and much of that Prince, no one can play the parts that you're thinking.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how great the band or the people are. He just like, no, I just wanted to, So he took them off, and I was left on, I guess, because I played saxophone. So it was a great feeling though to be invited. But he taught me a lot in that session about how to record. And there's so many different scenes. And then when I listen to the song, I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe the things I was doing and the freedom he gave me to do it, because I didn't know what I was doing at all.
So how long was the process like? How long were you in the studio recording it? How many hours you feel?
If I can think back, it wasn't very long, maybe a few hours, because when I got in, he was pretty much done. He had been up all night, and that's how he worked, and he wouldn't call you in until he was getting pretty much stuff. Because, Prince, he was always on to the next thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty much towards the end of it, and probably 3 or 4 hour thing, but just different things he had me do. At the end of that song, he told me to go to the back of the room. Now we're in the Capitol Records, where Frank Sinatra, like people that are, big rooms, and I'm this kid, like freaking out on I'm in Capitol Records alone. Said walk from the back of the room, and you can hear it towards the end of Temptation, and play, and just walk towards the mic. And, this is a little ways to the mic, but just play whatever comes to you, just play as you walk towards the mic. And you can hear, when you go back and listen to, you'll hear something come from nowhere, just kind of, but he had little things like that he wanted you to try, and he was just a genius.
Yeah. Wow. Always ahead of the curve, man.
Always. And just was just on that tip that he just wanted to do things other people couldn't do.
Yeah.
To keep them from copying. He didn't want people copying his vibe.
Yeah.
But do you recall if there's any recordings that you may have done around that time with him that you liked, that may have never seen the light of day, maybe in the vault?
No, I don't really have a lot that I shouldn't say that, because I be hearing stuff come out and I'm like, is that me? Because you got to know they was taking stuff from rehearsals, he was taking stuff from, he always was recording. Actually, another quick story, when we recorded The Ladder, I had no idea we was recording. Had no idea. We were rehearsing in St. Paul for the Purple Rain tour. And this is after rehearsal. He's like, hey, Sheila had finished her rehearsal, and we kind of, did our thing, was spread about, like thinking we gonna wrap up and go home while he does, his rehearsal. And next thing I know, Eddie M on the mic, and I'm like, what's he want now? Eddie M, come to stage. Eddie M. So I come to stage, like, get your horn. And they were going through The Ladder. I thought, what a cool song. But so he wanted to just play. So we was playing the changes and going through it. And then after we finished a few takes, or through going through it, which I didn't know he was recording, Jerome comes up. He said, Eddie, come here. It's like, Jerome, what are you doing now? Come here, man. So he takes me outside and walks me into this trailer, which I didn't know about mobile recording then, of course.
Yeah.
And I see this studio layout. I said, man, we had just tracked The Ladder. And they start playing it back, and I'm like, what the heck? I didn't know I was recording. He never said a word. That was my first song recording with him.
Wow.
Ladder, yeah. My very first song was The Ladder with him. Yeah. Everything else happened on the road or in the studio, but that was my very first one when I didn't know I was recording. So it wasn't about, hey, work on this part, fix this part, or do whatever he didn't like, he would blank it out or whatever. But it was pretty interesting.
The Ladder, your sax solo on The Ladder always reminded me of David Sanborn style.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, John, that's pretty. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. Trust me, that was all God, and it was all hard because he just say play. I'm like, okay, but I didn't, a lot of it, it's hard for me to listen to because there's a lot of mistakes, but he taught me about mistakes. Mistakes are what you make them, and he believed in me. So it was a good feeling to have somebody be into you of that level, at that level.
Absolutely.
Man, yeah, I'm glad he did, because if it wasn't Eddie M, I would never picked up a saxophone.
Oh man, right on.
Man, never, man, never. Yeah.
And that's what it's all about for me.
Yeah.
I want to, and to this day, even more so than when I was a kid. I want to inspire players, people who want to do it, people who have the desire to do it. Because, I was just a little middle class Black kid in Berkeley, California, not thinking about any of this, and if we can inspire, that's what this is all about. It's not about the fortune or the house on the hills. It's all about turning this and passing this and building this for after it's done for us, So.
Can I ask you about one of my favorite videos that you were part of, and that's the live version of America? You and Eric Leeds. Let me tell you, man, y'all, I don't understand how you kept your breath. I'm like, when did you breathe? Like,
I don't understand it either. It was amazing about that video, because that was like the off-limits video for Prince. Prince was like, he told us, we rehearsed, we had it, and when it was time to shoot it, he's like, listen, he told all of us, and the Revolution and me and Eric, and go for it. I don't care. Just go for it. Don't hold nothing back. I don't care. Because, if you think back about the Revolution, they always kind of like in their little box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They do their side steps, you know, but nobody really, you know, I mean, it was interaction here and there, but they was kind of like limited to where they needed to go or where they could go without messing with his thing. But he told us, go for it. I think, and we did 2 takes of that, I believe.
Okay.
And I think everybody who in the video came off the first take breathing like, because everybody just went for it. Because he gave the pass, just do your thing, whatever. I just want you to go wild. So that was like an impromptu thing. It was great. So Eric and I, you know, Eric is not that kind of, he ain't gonna jump around with you, but he gonna play your butt off.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, let me, while Eric blowing, I'm gonna just shine my horn. And,
right.
you know, and he was killing it. I'm like buffing and grooving, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I got to do something else. So diving off the platform was like a last minute.
Oh.
I was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm up in the air. I hope I land okay. That was not planned at all.
Really?
No, we did not rehearse that one.
Man.
But he gave us that, like, go for it. He gave us that pass, and I was like, okay, well, let me take it. So that was definitely like last minute.
Yeah, because you jumped up and you was like on your knees and you were just going at it. I'm like, how are you saying these notes? And then you got back up.
And right, we're right back.
We're right back. And then you just playing like, I was like, wow, how are you doing this? Amazing.
Young and bold, I should say. Young and bold, because I couldn't do it today. But I'll lay it down there. I'll probably be laying down there for an hour or something. Like, I might make it down, but I'm gonna be down for a minute. It was great. It was great.
Just don't lose that sax. Hold on tight to it.
Right, hold on tight. Right. You know, I'm watching him, you know, have no limit, you know. I watched him dive off of those speakers and platforms for years in those boots.
Right.
So it just kind of gave you this, I can do some of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just gave you this, I can do it too. I can do something like that. But yeah, he gave me that.
The confidence.
That confidence, like you could really put it in and do it too. So something about being around that.
Yeah, we did name drop quite a few artists that you have played with throughout your career. Who are some of the other artists that you play with who may have allowed you to have that type of freedom on their tour or the recordings?
Well, man, I don't know. It became easier to do because people accepted me, right? From the Prince thing, you know, they thought, you know, I developed my own thing. So I never really got the no, do this kind of thing. They wanted to hire me for what they knew I had accomplished with him. So it wasn't really, I mean, a few there, you know, they tried to direct and it was usually producer, you know, just trying to be the producer or whatever. But I ended up working with Babyface and L.A. Reid, and they gave me a lot of freedom. Folks like that just kind of hired me for what they knew I had accomplished.
Right.
Which made it easier. That's why I said Prince made a path for me, where I didn't really have to prove myself so much. You know, but them like Michael Walden, I ended up working on Aretha Franklin's album, which I was like, it's on my wall. It's somewhere. You probably got it behind you, Ruben.
Right here.
That was like a jewel. I mean, it was like, if my mom, you know, when my mom was here when I did that, but it was like kind of like for her because we grew up listening to Aretha Franklin.
What year was that?
Oh Lord. So
I'm putting you on the spot. Huh?
oh yeah, that had to be probably 87,
87 or something.
somewhere in there.
Okay. Was that Who Zooming Who? Was that album?
Sounds like it.
No, it was what album was that? It was Aretha, but the song was called Rock a Lot. Yeah, I can see it. It's above Ruben's head to the left. Yeah,
oh, it is that. Okay.
Yeah, but that was great. Michael Walden invited me in. He's a local that's done all the Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey hits. And
oh yeah, legendary. Yeah.
And I grew up watching Michael live because he was from up here. Him and Randy Jackson, you know, the crew up here. They was like kind of like my, you know, people I really admired and looked up. So to get the opportunity to work with him and be a part of Aretha Franklin's life was awesome. So stuff like that was very cool for me. I mean, it's a lot of folks that I got to had an opportunity to record for that did great things, and then tour with. I ended up touring with Stevie Nicks. I spent a lot of time with Karen White, which Karen White we kind of put in the mix. She don't give us credit for, but we'll keep it quiet. Because me and my boy, we about to put out some information on a lot of we're doing me and my guy John Pierce. I was telling you about Drummer for Earth and the Fire. We have a group called Back to Basic that we started because we started when we were 15 years old together.
Wow.
And we're going back and we pulling up our history, and we went into the music business professionally together, and has remained close. He's my kid's godfather, and I'm, you know, same on his side with kids. So we're very close. He's like my brother. Well, you know, he's my brother. But we're doing a project now that we're going to follow up with a book, telling some stories, telling some inside stories.
Yeah.
I got too many names attached, but we're gonna tell some story. It's like y'all can move the names to it. No, we just want to leave something here, you know? It's like we felt like, man, we've supported so many great people and had the opportunity to. So we want to give a little bit more insight with some music as well. So stay tuned. It's gonna be some cool stuff.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned that, because that was going to be one of my questions about the Back to Basics project.
Yeah,
I actually met John about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, at the St. Paul concert.
Oh, right. He was there.
Yes, I did have a chance to talk to him and holler at him in, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, so very, 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 very cool brother, man. It was an honor to meet him. And we talked for a little bit, and then also I've been loving the videos that you guys have been having about his start, you know, with O'Brien and so forth. So I'm looking forward to the project.
Awesome.
Keeping up with
that is so cool. Thanks, John. Y'all got the same name, so that works out.
Yeah. and we're gonna have to persuade the brother to come on the show. So
he'll be on. He'll be on.
John, we're gonna put it in the air. John,
he probably gonna be mad because he ain't on with us right now.
Oh, we would love to have him on and you know, have him, you know, tell about his history and his musicianship and so forth. And he's a drummer too, so I like that.
Absolutely. And that's what this project is about, to talk about our history and our time in the business together, what we've seen and what, you know, folks haven't seen. Just kind of give a little backstage experience to what our lives have been in this business, together and apart. Because we helped to break some artists, we helped to make some artists, we supported the greats, and we want to tell a little story about it, not to hurt nobody, just to be real about it, because we want to leave something here that we started when we were 15 years old. And that's what it's about. It's called Back to Basics, and it's going to be something, you know. So we've been working real hard. We actually started through COVID, and we've been so it's going to be some real cool guest artists on it. I'll sneak and tell you one person on it is David Hollister.
Hey,
I won't tell you any more because it's going to be real cool stuff.
yeah.
But we're excited about it, and it's kind of like us just going all the way back, because when we didn't have, you know, we had green beans in the cabinet. We had band houses and stuff back then. We had a band house, and they had no money. We had a can of green beans and some hamburger helpers. You know what I mean? It was like stretching it through the week. Okay, we can only eat this portion of it.
Making it work, huh?
And we made it work, but you know, God was good, and we never missed a meal, and we was able to play music, and we lived through that together. And so we're gonna share that. We want to share all of that, because people think, you know, it's the American Idol way about everything, especially the young folks. You know, you don't have to go through the garage band experience to get great or to get better at whatever you do. They think, you know, you can go in your bathroom and sing a song because television has promoted that. That's not the way. You know, I don't believe it's the way. It's one way, but to sustain and have longevity, I think you need to go through the motions to appreciate it and stay in there. You know, so we'll bring him on. We'll bring him. He's gonna be excited.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We would love to have him. Absolutely.
I'm glad you met him. That's awesome.
Now, I don't like putting music in a genre or category, but besides you touring with so many different variations of you know, jazz, rock, pop, and soul artists, you yourself did some work. You did do a solo album here, which I have here.
Oh boy.
you did step away and do a CD.
That's right.
which is a great album. Zip Code is like one of my favorite songs, and it's hard to believe that CD is over 20 years old, and it still sounds fresh. Talk a little bit about the songwriting process or choosing your songs to do a solo album, and will you do one soon again?
Well, I'm not planning to do a solo album anytime soon, but this project with me and John is going to take the lead if I do go back and do another solo album. Cool. Just for that part. The B2B project is pretty much, I feel, is a solo album, and in a sense, but not it's a joint venture with my brother. John actually wrote Zip Code.
Wow.
He wrote that, and all the players that was on that album were my boys that we grew up with, and also into the professional cycle of the music world, like Bobby G, John Paris, Raymond McKinley, some other locals, Jubal Smith, that was on that record. So yeah, I mean, that record was pretty cool, you know. My favorite was the first one though, because I was born out of Motown. I'd signed to Mojazz.
Right.
I remember Mojazz.
Yeah, I was with Mojazz because I had played with Wayman Tisdale, and me, John, Bobby, and that's what came up to me to do a solo thing, because I was being featured with Wayman a lot, and Mojazz took a liking to what was happening, so they signed me. Unfortunately, you know, Andre Harrell, God rest his soul, came in and he kind of dismantled the whole Motown thing, and in a sense phased Mojazz out, which they were keeping me, but we got the insight that they weren't going to really push the record, the Ward Street record. So we begged for them to release us, and they released us right on time, and we took it to JVC Records. Now that was one of my favorite records. Eddie M album was cool, but it was done with some people I don't think in the higher, you know, they picked some things that I didn't think they should have focused on, and it shifted what Ward Street had kind of already set up. Urban AC Radio was giving me love because I did my first single was "Tell Me If You Still Care" by Buzz Band. You know, and that did well on the charts, and it started making a lot of noise in Urban AC. But then when I went after that, went to the second record, this company, Samson Records, just didn't have an idea, and they released some stuff that didn't match up with where I left off. So we lost traction there, and that was it really did something to me where I was not interested in dealing with the solo thing through labels at that point. I was like, I'm cool, I'm done. So, you know, so I went back to do other things. But this B2B album, well, we're now in a place where we can do what the hell we want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And ain't nobody gonna tell you, oh, we gonna release that because we own the masters.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how we're approaching this B2B project. We're picking songs that we love. We picking songs that we wrote, picking songs that we love that other people wrote. And we're putting our, you know, thumbprint on it, and we're gonna share it. And we ain't got an answer to nobody at this point. So we're pretty stoked about it.
We definitely looking forward to that.
And gotta hear that. Gotta hear that. Is it a tentative release date yet, or are you still?
Well, yeah, you're probably looking at the beginning of the year. Okay. Because we can't do nothing around Christmas. It's almost done though. It's in the oven. Just gotta leave it in the oven a little bit longer. Make sure you crust it right.
You gotta toast it a little bit more.
Yeah, a little more. We need a little darker on the top, you know. It'll be all right. Yeah, but we're excited. We've been doing a lot of great people have come in and contributed to it. Ferdy White, I mean, some great folks have been involved, and so we're really super excited about what's happening.
Very cool.
Yes.
Rube, did you have some other questions?
Man, you know, with this brother here, I can go on forever, but
I know, man. I know.
You know, well, Ruben already in my house, so he can ask me in the middle of the night.
Like, hey, Eddie, what you think about
that? You got any beer in the fridge, man?
Yeah, right, man. What you got in the fridge, man? Yeah, it's 4th of July coming up, man. We need to be ready. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Good, man. Before we wrap you up, bro, do you have any like social media that people can reach out to you and follow you?
Yeah, B2B Music Instagram, Blow For You Instagram, Facebook is Eddie Mendenfield, I believe, but you know, I usually don't push so much Facebook because you know, ain't nobody looking at Facebook but my old ass. So no, it's stuff on those social media platforms, but definitely check out the B2B Music platform because it's a lot of information on me and John is happening, talking about the stuff he's doing on the tour. He's now out Earth, Wind & Fire is now out with Santana. They have a tour this summer, so they've been out, and so it's a lot of day-to-day things happening there that you'll pick up on. And but Blow For You, that's BLOWFORYH Instagram, and you know, we making a little noise, so but stay tuned. And it may be, you might have a little surprise for Christmas, so you know, a little blast. So we'll keep you posted. Yeah,
definitely.
Little Christmas release. So we working on it now. I'm not cleaning it, but got to do it real quick. So hopefully we can get it done and get it out. Just a little snippet of something to bring the holidays in. We've been through a lot of crap, man. So it's about us trying to cheer each other up and cheer each other up with great sounds and great music. So we thought about doing something for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. You know, with these 2 years of really being in the wilderness, you know what I mean? Not be able to, and this is the reason why we have the Purple Brothers, me and John.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something creatively because we were, you know, he's a musician, I'm a filmmaker. So we were like, kind of like, what are we gonna do? Well, me and John went to high school together. We've known each other for 30 years. Yeah.
Okay, y'all got the same relationship me and John Perry.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love it.
He's just a year younger than I am, but he's my bro. And then our birthdays is only a day apart.
Oh wow. That's dope. I love it. I love it, man.
Yeah. So, you know, yeah, it's time. Whatever you put out, brother, we're here for it, man.
Right on. Well, I'll make sure you guys the first to be on top of and the first to know. And we'll get John on. You guys just let me know when you want him because he's available for especially you know, situations like this. Because we not only want to promote what we're doing, we want to talk to folks. We want to let folks know and encourage the youth and encourage, you know, folks to keep pushing. It might, you know, we went through a lot, man. A lot of people lost, and we have to use our words and our music to kind of, you know, help in those areas. So
uplift.
We're in, man.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Well, Eddie, we're not gonna let you off the hook just yet. I'm gonna put you on the spot for 1 minute. I'm gonna set a timer here, and I'm gonna shoot some real quick questions, and you just answer the first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh, but this can be dangerous.
So no pressure, Eddie, no pressure. All right.
I better get my lawyer online. Lawsuit. No.
Nah, this is gonna be quick and painless, man.
Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, I'm setting the timer here. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Favorite Sheila E song?
Love Bazaar.
Favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire song?
September.
Favorite Prince slow jam?
God.
Favorite sax solo from any artist?
It's got to be Maceo, but I don't know which one I could pick out. Let me just say Ronnie Law's always there.
Ronnie, okay.
Yeah.
Favorite Prince 80s album?
Around the World Today.
Okay. Favorite dessert?
Woo! Now you really got me. Favorite dessert, chocolate cake.
Okay. Favorite Eddie M song?
Oh, Lord. Favorite Eddie M song? A ballad, Don't Give Up on Love.
Okay. Another instrument you think you would play if it was not a sax?
Well, believe it or not, I just purchased this.
Okay.
I just purchased this 3 days ago, so I'm learning guitar right now.
Okay, so that mark, that make the mark right there. All right, so Eddie, I'm with you because I just got this.
Oh!
I'm gonna try something new too.
Oh, John Straight! Yes, yes. All right, man. That's great.
I'm gonna step out of my box with you two, bro.
There you go. Let's do it, man. It's not too late. We can do it.
Absolutely.
Never too late.
Then we get Ruben to pick his back up. We just pick up the
pieces
together.
Yeah.
So.
And then we'll be the song. What's the song title you said? The Groove. What was that title? The song title you said you wrote? Something with the Groove.
Oh,
come
can you feel the groove tonight?
Yeah, that way we get back and get Ruben back. He'll feel the groove again.
Yeah, he'll feel the groove. Right, we're gonna take a way back with title on. Yeah, that's it, man. I love it. That is great, man. Yeah. That is so cool.
Yes,
brother, it was a pleasure, man, and an honor, and man, so much fun as always, man. And I have to let everybody know, man, every time I see this brother, man, it just makes you feel so special because of he has a genuine smile that just lights up the room, and you drawn to him because of the positivity that comes out of his heart. This is a really, really good brother here, and I'm so proud to have him on our show, and honored, proud to call him my friend, man. My brother Eddie M, man. Thank you for coming on the show with us, man.
You guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless you. And stay tuned, y'all, because me and John are coming back real soon. We got a lot more to say. Yeah. And we want to, we want you guys out there to help us move this along.
Yeah, we're going to get John on for sure, man. Absolutely.
Beautiful. Love it, man. Well, thank you guys. Happy holidays. Be safe. God continue to bless you, and let's go, man.
Let's get it, man. All right, appreciate you, bro.
All right. Y'all need anything, hit me up. You got my digits.
For sure, man. Thank you all for watching the Purple Brothas once again with special guest Eddie M. Yeah. Appreciate you, love, to the Purple family out there. To the next go round.
We love the Purple family. Come on. All right, man. Love y'all, man. Be good.
You back, man, my brother. Take care.
All right, yeah. Later.
Peace.
Later, man.